I'm a filmmaker. I've worked in film, video, and television for over 30 years. I took a little break, but now I'm back. Hello, and welcome to another edition of Art Imitates Live. I'm Tanya Dixon. Y'all, I'm excited today. I've been watching this guy for many months, and he is so super talented. So I am so happy that we'll be welcoming today on our Soul Spotlight, violinist, international violinist, Richmond Punch will be here. So y'all sit back, relax. We'll get it started in just a few moments. Art Imitates Live with Tanya Dixon is being sponsored by Candyland Global, bringing their multimedia dreams to life. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our Imitates Live podcast with Tanya Dixon on both Podbean and on YouTube. Welcome back to Art Imitates Live. And as I said earlier, we were going to have a very, very ultra talented musician coming through. So we have the wonderful international violinist, Richmond Punch is in the house. How you doing, Richmond?
I'm doing well, Miss Tanya. How you doing?
I'm great. Thank you. You know, I've been seeing you out there for a long time. You've been sending me like your messages of the different events that you were doing. I was like, my God, he's doing more. And I knew that my show was coming back, but I didn't have the date yet, which we were going to bring our Imitates back yet, bring the show back yet. But once we did, and you hit me with your videos, I said, I've got to get this guy on the show because he has been just ripping it up. So big congrats to you for everything that you are doing out there and being this international violinist who is specializing in jazz and hip hop and all kinds of things. So let's go ahead and talk about your start, how you got started. I was very impressed to read that you went to Juilliard. And so let's talk about how you became this international violinist. What was your start?
Sure, yes, ma'am. Well, it all began, I guess it's in 1985 when I started the violin. I was 5 years old. I was in public schools, in public Montessori school, and the teacher, with the right support, supporting public school district, She really encouraged us to play, to never stop, to keep going. Even if I played the wrong note, it was like she was like, "Oh, that's it. Okay, just play another. Just play it again. Play it again. Okay, play it a third time.
All right.
You know." She was like, "Play it till it sound good, and then play
Right.
it some more. Then play it some more."
All right. That's wonderful. So, what made you decide to go with the violin? It's like I had a choice when I was young. I was going to play the viola, and what happened is I changed schools and I ended up going and I played flute for a lot of years. What made you decide to do a string instrument as opposed to, some type of a horn or a woodwind or something of that nature?
Oh, sure. Well, a lot of it was just really what they had, what they put in our sight. But
Okay.
they did actually give us piano before that. And I
Right.
guess the violin was just a little bit more striking to me. Maybe it was because you could move around while playing, uh,
Okay.
you know, and I could
Right.
move with it. When most time when you're playing piano, you just kind of sitting there,
Yes. You're trapped to the piano.
yeah.
Did you learn during that time to play any other instruments or just the violin when you were young?
No, just piano. I did learn some piano, and
Okay.
I still know some to this day. But violin, and later on, I would learn the viola, and I learned the
Okay.
cello from watching my sister learn.
Okay. All
Hmm.
right. So tell me about that journey of how you got to Juilliard, and then we're going to talk about also how you went to get your master's in music at Yale University. So how did you get to Juilliard? Talk to us about that. And the reason why I ask you these kind of questions is a lot of young people out there with a lot of talent, and they may not know how to navigate into some of these areas.
Sure, yes, ma'am. Well, I really got there because along the way, I did one of the most important things you could do, which is find private lessons. You
Okay.
have to find private lessons, and a lot of the cities have programs for underserved minorities, low income, to be able to have lessons for less money. A lot of people don't think, oh well, I can't afford the lesson. It might be $100 an hour, 100 or $200 an hour, sometimes even more. I can't afford that. Let's forget about the violin entirely. Well, they forgot to call Georgia State University.
Mm,
They forgot to call Clark Atlanta. They forgot that Spelman teaches violin. And if you called the violin teacher, that price is going to be a little bit less than the 40-year-old veteran of the Atlanta Symphony. You know,
okay.
they don't know these things. If you
Right.
call a college student, you're going to get, you can even call. You could actually go back and call and start with a junior or senior in high school,
Right.
because they can teach you beginner.
Uh-huh.
They can teach you beginner level.
Right.
So but we didn't have to necessarily make all those calls. Uh,
Mhm.
our orchestra teacher, being helpful, told me about a program at Southern Methodist University when I was 9 years old,
Mhm.
which is around. I was there on Saturdays, and in the summers I was there almost 5 days a week. It
Okay.
was a program put on by the symphony, so a well-known, pretty serious program. I did find those around $30 an hour lessons
Okay.
at Southern Methodist University, so I did take advantage of that. And then later on, I went to later on, that same person introduced me to a program the Dallas Symphony had for
Okay.
minorities, specifically to
Okay.
Latino and Black, to be able to study classical music for free, based
Wow.
on qualifying for the audition, based on qualifying for the program.
Okay. Okay. That's really great information because, like I said before, sometimes people don't know how to get themselves into different programs, into different. They know the long range goal, but they don't have the short range plan.
Hmm.
In order
That's
to
right.
get there. And so
That's right.
that is helpful information. What was it like being a student at Juilliard and then moving on and deciding to further your education and go to Yale University for your master in music? What was in your mind at that time of what type of career you were aiming for at that time?
Sure, sure. Well, I was coming from that great training of the Dallas Symphony. What was summer camps in Dallas became statewide summer camps at University of Texas Austin. Became became more national summer camps in
Mhm.
Interlochen, Michigan, and Aspen, Colorado.
Right,
Even before college.
right.
So I was already getting international exposure. So I knew that word, international. I knew
Okay.
classical music. I knew
Mhm.
church. I knew church. And I knew something called jazz because I went to the Booker T. Washington High School for Performing and Visual Arts
Okay.
uh, of like Erica Badu, Nora Jones, Roy Hargrove, the late
Right.
Roy Hargrove, jazz trumpeter. And so all those things I knew. So when I was at Juilliard, I was prepared. I brought something to the table.
Okay.
Okay. But then I had to expand because it was not easy. Uh, I had some of the days I just needed spending money. But what I would do is all day long, practice, scales are some of the most, scales are you know, scales are some of the most important things you can do. Learn
Uh-huh.
all the keys. Then I was like, my ultimate goal was a symphony job, but I
Okay.
was like, I'm going to learn. I'm going to also explore this jazz thing, so I
Uh-huh.
can take my G major and then go, you know,
Uh-huh.
and then from sitting, in church and
Right.
being around people like Erica Badu and all those people, all those years, and I was in a symphony basically, and I got to a moment where I couldn't take it, but
Uh-huh.
I discovered because I discovered street entrepreneurship by way
Mhm.
of playing in the subway,
Right. Right.
and I got my spending money that I was talking about,
Right.
and I just began to change my own life without knowing it. The
Okay.
subway was evolving me.
Okay.
Um, Jam sessions were training me. After all the scales and everything, is the
Right.
jam session.
Okay.
Jam, yeah, and
Okay.
yeah.
So let me ask you a question. Like you mentioned that word entrepreneurship, and you started in your mind forming yourself into that entrepreneurship. It sounds to me like during that time. So what was that first big performance or gig that you did when you were transitioning out of being a student, or even maybe even while you were a student, that told you, "Hey, I'm going to do this. I can do this." What was that first thing that made you kind of start seeing this is quite possible here?
Actually, one of the things was that we benefited from a lot of organizations growing up. I
Hmm.
became somewhat well known, even entering into Juilliard. One of those organizations was the United Way. I
Okay.
did a United Way fundraiser. Um, at first, I benefited from their programs through YMCA, different
Right.
organizations. They ended up calling me upon me to be a part of their gala in front of some of their top people in Dallas. And they
Right.
put me on stage with Marvin Hamlisch, who
Okay.
from Broadway, or, Barbara Streisand, and some of the top Broadway and film, scoring music, and that was the big opportunity because I got to see, that's a man that can be on stage and tell 200 people what to do, and
Hmm.
they'll do it, and that's his career. And So I saw that, and another big opportunity, a little bit different, still the same, was when I finished college. You
Okay.
know, my and I went on to Yale for my master's after Juilliard. You know, constantly practicing, constantly. I was going to get into a symphony orchestra. But what happened is that when I didn't get into a major symphony orchestra, I
Hmm.
was like, I'm still want to make it in life. I became a teacher.
Okay.
The first big break was seeing that steady kind of a paycheck.
Uh-huh.
Where actually I was doing private lessons. So it wasn't the your 35, 45, 55, but it was a teaching job.
Okay.
Where I was teaching, I was in a place of business and I was working um,
Okay.
in a school district doing
Okay.
private lessons, and so that was a great time because somebody gave me a chance, gave me a job.
Right. Right. Right.
Uh,
So with
then I
that,
went
okay.
Oh, go ahead. No, then I was
Oh,
gonna say then entrepreneurship. Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, actually, that was kind of going to be my direction. Is I wanted to just see how that transition happened, where you actually started doing a whole lot of performing and became this international violinist. I really kind of wanted to see how, like you were saying, you were teaching and all, how that whole transition took
Yes.
you
So
over.
because yes, indeed, Tanya. So because I wasn't at that 35, really I was more at 15 for a 1 hour lesson on a part-time basis.
Okay.
15 an hour on part-time basis for 15 an hour, 20 an hour.
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying? That's not even the same as the 30 that I told you about
Right.
paying the teacher when I started. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So, but it taught me something because I had a lot of extra time to figure out other things. So
Right.
I started doing weddings and gigs and business and people would call me and they'd say, "Well, I want to do and have violin. You're a violinist. Can you play something country for me? If I call you, I'll pay you $200. Can you please?" you know, and
Right.
so, and then I wanted to get where, and then my phone would ring again. And somebody said,
Hmm.
"Well, can you play Latin music for me? I need Latin music." And I'd be, I'm trying to play "Oye Como Va."
All
Anyway,
right. I got it. I
all
got
right,
it.
like that. But and I got to the point I was like, okay, they're calling me, seeing my skin color,
Uh-huh. Yeah, I got
they're
you.
calling me for country and Latin, and
Right.
I want them to call me for the air thing. So that so I started learning everything. And that's
Right.
what, and nobody knew my name. Nobody knew my name. But I wanted to be that guy that could play everything. So I knew that
Uh-huh.
if they would ask me if I could do it, and if I could have an answer and play,
Right.
then I would be on the way to international. That I knew.
Okay. Okay. I like that. I like how you made yourself very versatile like that, and that's what you have to do out there, you know. I think in everyone who decides to be an entrepreneur and do their own thing, like I even do with my own company, you have to kind of know the whole scope of what's going on and everything that you do instead of just one little pocket there, because you make yourself more marketable and, like you say, more international. So I like that you decided to learn different genres of music and put yourself in a place where a person could come to you for any form of music like that. That's cool.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And that became something because then what was originally, can you play Amazing Grace for my church
Right.
or my going home service became while I was playing on the street. I'm gonna give you a little story that's gonna lead to my first movie.
Okay.
I, while I was playing on the street, I saw a man pass that was quite well known with a very deep voice one day.
Right.
I
Mm-hmm.
was so in tune to my music that almost hardly even didn't notice him. I was just playing my street performance in Dallas
Okay.
during that whole time after college. And
Right.
I'm playing, this man walks by and gives me some money. I really didn't know who he was. He was Bishop J.
Oh,
Bishop
wow.
TDJ.
Wow.
Okay, hold on. So hold on. So that's one thing. Fast forward. I'm doing a wedding around about 5 years later,
Okay.
a wedding where, because I finished school in 2005.
Mm-hmm.
In 2008, I did a wedding, donated to a wedding of a musician of his church that I knew from high school.
Right.
I was really just thinking about the wedding. I wasn't thinking, okay, about to end up playing at the church. I'm
Right.
just trying to do the wedding. And I know he knows some people, and so I'm just trying to connect. I'm at the wedding, I'm playing the wedding, and I'm part of a band in a background.
Uh-huh.
Somebody hears me in my background and my mixes. Uh, because again, I know my music.
Okay.
And they come to me after the wedding and gave me a card and said, I'm gonna call you. They called about a month later and said, would you like to debut at the Potter's House Church?
Ooh. Wow.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
That's a big one. Eh?
What?
That's a
What you
big.
just say?
That's a big deal.
And then you want me to play for how many people? And then
Wow.
how many of them are on television? And where are they?
Right. Right.
So that created my debut at the Potter's House Church.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm trying to making this story short, but fast forward to my move to Atlanta,
Okay.
uh, 10 years later, today, I'm talking about today, I did, a week ago or 2 weeks ago, I just did my first film just came out, my first major film. And talk about the full
Wonderful.
circle. Remember that I told you about the little story of the street.
Mhm.
Remember the story I told you about the wedding. Remember I told you I played in Potter's House
Right.
Church.
Right.
Well, that's the TD Jakes movie that I was just in.
Ooh, that's wonderful.
First movie.
Congratulations.
In my first movie. And thank you so much. And it's a wedding scene in the movie called Lust. And
Uh-huh.
I mean, like people are talking about it big time, this movie. So
Wow.
I really feel as I continue this path towards international success. I mean, I
Okay.
used to work with like Disney Cruise Line and stuff, so I've seen some different places. I
Okay.
had been to France, England, and Scotland before I was 18, so I had seen
Okay.
those countries. But I've been trying
Right.
to get to where I'm there on a more regular basis. Here during
Okay.
the pandemic, I believe that God is opening the door
So you
so
want to
that
do more traveling and playing in
yeah.
other countries. I really want to ask you too, before we get further into your international, what made you decide at a certain point to you kind of I'm not going to say you're a complete activist, but you seem to be very interested in a lot of issues, and you kind of bring that into your music. And I looked at your cover that you did of Two Shorts Blow the Whistle, and you
Mhm.
had the Black Lives Matter background. And tell me a little bit about your stance and what made you decide to have that as a background, and your stance in this, everything that's going on, your mindset and bringing in your music into that whole situation.
Yes, ma'am. So I feel very strongly that me being a black man and being, I believe, educated, that I don't want to just sit back and be doing something, have people clap for me, be
Mhm.
playing some music, and then just go along about my everyday life when, even I myself have endured, questionable,
Mhm.
incidents with the police, with treatment, you
Mhm.
know, and basically when Botham John was killed in Dallas, basically it got to the point I couldn't take it anymore.
Okay.
When Botham John was killed while sitting in his house eating ice cream, by police officer Amber Geiger, I I went out the next day. I was out there protesting
Mm-hmm.
that incident, and then protested some more, played for justice out there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, um, and then I ended up playing for his family's gala. Matter of
Okay.
fact, I just talked to his mother this morning. This
Okay.
morning on Instagram. But I played for his family's gala because a lot of the families will then formulate foundations to
Okay.
support the fight against injustice. So that was
Okay.
one of the things that actually did happen. It was very well received. There were a lot of people there,
Okay.
and I was so moved by everything that I wrote a song called
Oh.
"Hymn for Baltimore."
Okay.
That's out there. You can see it. It's out everywhere. Him for Boston,
Okay.
and then if you fast forward when I moved to Atlanta,
Mm-hmm.
obviously everything continued to happen, and then I moved March 1st, 2020, and then um, when I moved March between April and June, April and May,
Mm-hmm.
George Floyd death, happened. And then as well as Rayshard Brooks, the incident of Rayshard Brooks at Wendy's happened. And so
Mm-hmm.
I was out there taking my street, to have a purpose.
Okay.
And I went out, I was at the Wendy's. That led to me performing for Rayshard Brooks' viewing service, which
Mm-hmm.
was viewed on national television. So I
Wow.
have clips now with people where you can watch the videos, and it is ABC, NBC, CNN, all of them at the same time. So I
Mm-hmm.
have that. That has happened to me, something I wanted so much in my life, which I hate for it to happen under that
Right.
circumstance, but
Mm-hmm.
it did happen, and I have a project that I started called Strings for Justice.
Streets for justice.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so Strings for Justice is supposed to be all about creating avenues for music to reach more people, to bring more healing, as well as to open the doors for, uh, I really make a more narrow path,
Mm-hmm.
open the doors wider, make a more narrow path to solutions for mental health issues, to injustice
Mm.
issues,
Yeah.
to,
I,
um,
I'm glad you
to
mentioned mental health because that is I've always felt like that's a major problem in the Black community that's kind of been brushed under the rug. And that
mhm.
is something that we have to do as a community and as a world to recognize that that has been something that has not been looked at with our people. And it's a serious problem.
Yes, indeed.
Hmm.
We have to do it, and we need the right kind of support, the different
Right.
kinds of support that we have today, or part of the problem that surrounds the bad policing. Different all across the board, the people that are supposed to be helping us, their training, their policing, their everything like that is something that's what I really want to be a part of, as well as bringing music to the
Okay.
forefront of the really bringing music to those that suffer from this mental health
Right.
disorder. Yeah.
Right.
Um,
I have a question too about your whole thing, and I imagine that I spent a lot of years myself working in hip hop, and to see you bring that whole hip hop element into your music. Tell me about that. What was your motivation there? Because most people automatically just think it would be classical. It is very impressive to see how you have gone further into jazz and to hip hop when it comes to your talent, your art.
so thank you. And you're saying that actually helps me finish answering your question. Is that the
Hmm.
next thing I did blow the whistle,
Hmm.
the song, and did that, and I did it in Oakland Cemetery in Atlanta
Okay.
because bodies have been being removed. Uh,
Mhm.
black bodies being removed historically, but I played that hip. I love hip hop, and so I used
Right.
that hip hop song to play to do the just to send the message of blow the whistle on injustice. Time to blow the whistle, like time out.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Like no more stuff, you know.
Right.
Uh, no more injustice, no more hatred. You know,
Right.
treat everybody right. You know,
Hmm.
but hip hop, I love hip hop. You know, this was my favorite, my first. I'm sorry, my favorite and my first
Uh-huh.
song. You know, was that was one of my favorite.
Yeah. I like when
But, you
Tupac used
know,
that sample. What was the song again? When Pac used that sample.
but I ain't mad at you.
I ain't mad at you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is also the same samples also used in Blackstreet.
Right, right. And so that's why I was thinking Blackstreet. Wasn't Blackstreet the original, and then Pac came back with with the use a sample, and I ain't mad at you. So
Yeah, the Blackstreet is don't what they say, don't need
don't
no,
leave. Mm-hmm.
don't
Don't.
leave, yeah, don't
Yeah.
leave, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, because I remember many years ago, I interviewed them years ago, and I do remember that. I never got a chance to interview Tupac. That's always a regret of mine that I never got a chance to speak with him because of not just his music, but his whole stature of everything in which he used to speak about. Always wanted to talk to him. I never had that opportunity. That's a big regret that we never crossed paths on
Oh
that,
wow.
but so many others in music that have that opportunity. So, like to hear a person like yourself with the talent that you have, that you're using this instrument to bring such beautiful music to so many people, motivate so many people with what you do. And it's different. That's what caught my attention right away, is because it's just different to see a violinist doing all this, and then also a black violinist doing all of this as well. So I was very, very impressed and glad to have you here. So tell me some more about what you got going on.
So my latest is, after having been in my first film, I can't tell you everything, but I have
Yeah.
already done a second project, a television project, and I can't believe that these things happen in the pandemic.
Oh,
Which is
cool.
unbelievable. I wouldn't imagine being in my first major film in a pandemic. No way, impossible. Um, and uh,
People, when they spend a lot of money in these productions, I guess they couldn't change too much. They had to go ahead and move on some things. So that's
mhm,
phenomenal.
yes. So I literally moved to the right city. The one that was still doing films, and
Right,
it is truly an appointed time to be here in
right.
Atlanta. But
Yeah.
I have on the 24th, I have a brunch bubbly. It's like for $30. It's your massage, your food, and your music, your entertainment is all included.
Wow.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's like
Okay.
great again, like per person. So that'll be a good one. You'll see it on my page. It'll say something about brunch and bubbly or wellness.
Okay.
It's a wellness event.
All
I
right.
also play at Theory Lounge in Duluth on a regular basis.
All right.
That's my band, the Punch TKOs. I play
Say
at
it
my
again. What's
band
the name
also
of it
plays
again?
the Punch TKOs
All
band.
right.
Yeah, as in like not total knockout.
Uh-huh.
Um, my band also plays at Cigar City on regularly, and Cigar City is in Sandy Springs.
Okay.
Okay, and then I play at a few different Mexican restaurants
Right.
uh, per month, ongoing, and just tons and tons of venues.
All
But
right.
I'm looking forward to the things that I'm doing, sending me to Africa and France,
Wow.
everywhere once this 2021 and 22 get rolling.
All right. You know what? I didn't ask you from the beginning, and I have to ask you now. But when you said the name of your band is the Punch TKOs, where did the name Richmond Punch? Now, is that your real name, or did you come up with that name? It's your real name.
Yes, yes, ma'am. That is my
Wow.
born legal name.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, so Punch, basically was a given name. Was given
Okay.
given give a name to my family. So
Hmm.
um,
And you working it
yeah,
to your advantage because it's very memorable, and
yeah,
it's like what you do. It is like a punch because you're coming out, blasting out there with all this music that people don't expect. Yes, they don't expect at all. And you're talented. I saw you, the video that you sent me, and you were dancing and you were going all down. I said, what? I just said, I was done on that. And you were just getting off with it. I said, oh,
thank
we got to
you.
show that one.
Oh yes, ma'am. I loved it. I Blow the Whistle is one of my favorites. That was one of the first videos that I started to dance. And.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Well, I'll tell you this. I love to ask people this question when they come to be a guest on the show here. Uh, Art Imitates Life is the name of the show. And I always ask people, what does that mean to them? Art imitates life. You, as an artist, especially, tell me what you think about when you hear that statement.
Well, I would definitely immediately point to what I've been doing with Black Lives Matter. That's
Okay.
probably one of my greatest examples in
Okay.
life currently. Is um, art it does imitate life. I feel like art should imitate life, in that it's created for that reason. Art
Okay.
is created not only to be timeless, but to be now in in present time,
Right.
so that the art can grow and evolve, become now, and also become future. Because if you don't do those things, then it's only going to remain part of that. It may only remain past, or
Right.
it won't have an evolution. So I'm just really strong on that, on always staying current. I'm always trying to explore new music, new songs, new ideas. In the pandemic, I started doing violin with dance,
Oh, cool. Wow.
with dancers. And so I have violin with ballerina now, violin
Right.
with belly dancers, with
Wow.
jazz, modern dance, and I also started a concept called the symphonic second line, which is a
Oh,
band that I started. I've had a few performances already. The band is called Symphonic.
okay. Symphonic. All right. You know what? My question was going to be, I'm listening to you, and I said, okay, he has the violin, with dance, and he has the whole activist situation going on, and then he has the movie. You're doing international work, and you have the band, and oh gosh, where does Richmond Punch want to take everything overall? Where do you want to see yourself as this international violinist? What goal do you
Hmm.
have that you really working on achieving right now?
Sure. Well, you just said some of it with all this different things put together. Is I want to be on stage, be able to be on stage
Okay.
wherever in the world. Let's pick, maybe it's Accra, Ghana,
Right.
or maybe it's South Africa, maybe it's Johannesburg sometime, or maybe it's Lagos, Nigeria,
Right.
and I'm presenting literally, because there is an orchestra in Africa, so I know how to find them as well.
Okay.
I could be the members of the Chinsasa Symphony,
Right.
and then have dancers and violin, and that is that on a smaller scale right now, but that's really what symphonic is.
Okay.
Symphon- um, sym- Symphonic is bringing together everything that's in a symphony, everything that's in funk,
Hmm.
and which I'm calling funk the other styles of music, the
Okay.
things where you bend the note, the things
Okay.
where you bend the note. So the symphony where everything is the note and everything you bend the note, and that's what I want to do with my whole career. I want to take what people know and I want to bend it in a way that the whole world can see it.
Wonderful. I love that. Do you have any people in particular that you would love to do a collaboration with?
Hmm. Sure. Wow, there are lots. I love. like Anderson Paak is one of my
Mhm.
favorites for his singing and his songwriting. He's obviously an amazing drummer as well.
Mhm.
Uh, I maybe it took my moving to Atlanta, but maybe one day, somebody like Erica Badu, some of my favorite voices, Lettucey. I think I can go with Herbie Hancock. I think I should.
Oh yeah, old school. I love that. I used to love to listen to Herbie's music. So yeah, that'd be
Mhm.
wonderful. Okay, well, I'm so impressed with you. I can't let you get out of here without playing us out.
Oh,
Whatever you
sure.
want to play for us, I'm appreciative because I love the talent. Been watching you for a little while, and I'm going to continue to watch, and I'll be looking for that movie as well. So,
Mm.
wait, anything but you want to leave us with, I'm gonna give you time to think about it. But I'm going to thank you so much for taking the time to grace us with your presence and your talent here on our Imitates Live. And of course, much continued success. I would love for you to come back anytime, tell us more that you have going on. Continue to send me the videos because loving that. And I keep up with what you're doing, but we're definitely going to have you come back on again. All right.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Oh, you're welcome. So, what you got for us? What you going to play for us?
Okay. Let's see. Actually, I just played this the other day. So let's see. Let's try.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you. And you know
That's a
what?
jazzy. That's a jazzy take on Angie's song.
Yes, I love that. And you know what? I can't let you get out of here without dropping your social media and your website so that everyone can check you out and follow you and come see you. So go ahead and drop your social media and I'll put it in the description below.
Awesome, awesome. Yes, please look for my two upcoming singles, Extra Sauce, as well as From Paris with Love.
Okay.
And on social media, Violin Richmond, as well as on Instagram and uh, also on Twitter, Violin Richmond, and Richmond Punch on Facebook and other social media, and website richmondpunch.net. Thank you so much, Tanya.
Yes, thank you too. You're so talented. And we thank you so much for being here. Right? Okay, all of you, thank you all for tuning in. Y'all stay put. We'll be back to end the show in just a few moments. We hope that you have enjoyed this episode of Art Imitates Live with Tanya Dixon, so be sure to like and subscribe. And also check us out on all of our other social media. But thank you all for tuning in for another Art Imitates Live. And thanks so much again to Richmond Punch for being here, sharing his beautiful talent and his wonderful story. It was just wonderful. I've been watching him for many months, and to be able to sit down and talk to him about everything was just so cool. And to look at him play live, that was ultra cool. So I thank him once again, and I thank you for watching. And also, anybody out there who would like to be a guest on the show, share your talent, share your story, what have you, you make sure that you reach out to us. Our social media was just airing right before my closing here, and also the email addresses I'm making sure I put on the screen now. So make sure you reach out, tell us what you have going on, tell us if you like the show, don't like the show, what you want to see, what have you. It's up to you. But thanks again for being here. I'm Tanya Dixon. You have a beautiful week, and we'll see you next time on Art Imitates Live.